Willkommen, bienvenue, and welcome back to Opus Magnum with Lyte. And today, we're working on Purified Gold, not to be confused with Refined Gold or Golden Thread. This one is where we turn lead into various things without using Quicksilver. This one is a really nice puzzle. It gets you thinking about several different possibilities, and particularly because the fast solution in no way resembles the small solution. Some of the others, you're like, you can learn something here and there from both, but these, whoa, are they different. So we're going to start off with this simul solution, which was a first attempt just looking at doing a solution with as few, well, basically, it's for simultaneous lead production. It drops them both in, gets everything going simultaneously on up the chain. But you'll notice, to get the timing right, you've got a lag right here, where it's just 1, 2, wait, 1, 2, wait, 1, 2, wait, 1, 2, wait. And so having a cycle length of 6 instead of 4 means you're not producing lead as fast as you can, and there's no way this one's optimal, but it gets you thinking about how to chain things along to get to the end. And it doesn't use too many resources. I mean, it's still a lot of resources. This is more arms than a lot of people are willing to deal with. But it starts you down the right track. But some people were like, well, why can't you just go and do something like this? So after one of my streams, one of the people who were watching it then or in the VOD were like, well, why can't you just do this? So I built their design as specified, such that you can see what happens when it doesn't. And so we grab the lead, we put it into position, and drop it. And we're already grabbing the next lead. It's a 4 cycle. And then we're pushing it into place. Great. Except these glyphs are not a 2 cycle like the production. They're a 3 cycle, and if you try to do simultaneous lead drops within a couple of cycles, the tin is still in the way. And if you try to grab it earlier, it'll just sit there. So with 5 and 6 here, it's 1, 2, 3, and then on 4, it grabs it. If we tried to grab this earlier, right here, oh, we missed it, because it didn't exist yet. And that 3 cycle is what caused the problem in simul as well, where you've got the chuk wait, chuk wait, chuk wait. So how do you get around the 3 conversion cycle? Well, I'm going to break form and go to the fast solution before the small and cheap solutions. So what you do is you add more converters. Because if you're producing at, a rate of 2, well, this thing gets the tin at a rate of 4, and it can produce at a rate of 4, no problem. It's a 3 cycle. So what we have is, instead of having 2 converters for the 4 leads, we've got 4 converters for the 4 leads. And so there's plenty of time for it to create the tin, and then the tin comes up here, and then we grab the iron, pare that down, and then the copper is nice and slow. And even slower, the silver, and then the gold drops in. And so by sidestepping that 3 cycle with 4 cycle of production, because they have to make 2 of the inputs, you're able to make this lovely bell-shaped solution. See, it's got a bell here and a bell here, and then a little bit of holly up top. Nice Christmas cheer for you. You're able to produce a very, very quick solution. Now, the question of whether or not it's optimal is up for debate. Because, yes, we are producing it as fast as possible. We're pulling the tin as soon as it exists, the iron as soon, and so on up the line. I'm fairly confident that that's all you need. Because the tin are on a 4 cycle, so this is not slowing you down any. I am confident that it's optimal, but the top percentile doesn't really help us on this one. Because it's 112 as well. And so there's nothing that says yes or no, really. When you dip down below the top percentile, you feel good about your solution. When you're right at it, you don't really know. But looking at it, it feels good to me. You know those hunches that I get in like last episode where I was like, I could probably get 18. They're usually pretty decent. But every now and then, autoskip comes along and proves me wrong. Or proves me right. One way or the other. And so we are with the fast solution. Good to go. Then we've got our solution, a good year. $17.99, truly a good year for someone, I'm sure. And so this one looks nothing like the fast solution. All it does is it just grabs things, moves them around. You've got one transmutation thingy, 2 arms, a little bit of swinging. And so essentially what we've built here is something that counts in binary. And it just keeps pushing it up and around, bringing it back, pushing it up and around, bringing it back. And eventually it counts all the way up to where it needs to go. And once it gets there, you have a gold, you drop it in the bin. Now this one is a little bit of an odd bird, where you actually do need empty hexes, because there's just not enough non-functioning hardware for you to really place all of the intermediate products somewhere that you also use for something else. But oddly enough, this is not as cheap or as small as you can get. It felt good at the time, but it's not quite there in either respect, because 2 arms are pricey. So you want to make it cheaper? Get rid of one of the arms. Because track is cheaper than arms, and if you've got an arm with 3 pieces of track, you can reach all the places you need to reach, and it's just a tiny bit cheaper. Because 3 pieces of track costs 15, another arm costs 20. If you're able to do this with just 1 arm and 2 pieces of track, well, then you're a magician, because how are you going to reach these 3 spaces with 2 pieces of track? So if there are any wizards out there, show me how it's done. Down in the comments, over on Discord, or on Twitter. Love to see the things people come up with. And so yeah, this is yet another version of binary counter. It just shifts it around, and instead of putting it really nearby because you have a piston, you put it really far away because you got an arm. That's a nice cheap solution. Well, where do we go from here? Well, we need to make it small. This one, pretty darn small. So we only have 2 pieces of track and a piston, and we put one of our intermediate products on the track. So the tin goes on the track, the iron goes on the exit, and so then we only have to deal with the copper and silver off of functional pieces. Because the tin doesn't get in the way, we're able to put it here. It doesn't interfere with doing anything. It's a lovely, lovely thing. And so here we go. We just have the copper here, the silver there, and then once we get back around, it'll all be done, and we will only use those 9 pieces of hex to get all this gold done with. As opposed to our fast solution, which used all of the area. But unfortunately, this solution takes forever to finish. Because in all of that time that I've been talking about it, it has completed one product. Sure, it's small. Sure, it's cheap. But my goodness. 2,626 cycles. Yikes. Yikes. But it's really small. Okay, so this last solution, because we've done fast, we've done cheap, we've done small. This last one was just a fun solution because I really like the way it looks. And what it's doing is seeing how fast you can get the job done using 3 lead sources. Because since this producer, or this glyph, is on a 3 cycle, well, when you've got 3 sources, it's well timed and it gets the job done. But you do have 1 extra lead that could be used to do pretty much any part of this. And so it's at 161, makes you wonder, well, could we adapt this to make it as fast as possible? Well, maybe. Because if you take the lead and feed it in over here, then you wouldn't need 15. So if the timing were right, such that the coppers would get here at about the same time from 1 lead and 3, you'd be great. The odds of that seem pretty slim, though. Because whenever you've got 3 things going and then 1 thing going, the parity is likely to fall apart. And so the only way that having 1 lead producing things would really save you time is if somehow it could sneak something in. Somehow, I've got my doubts. But if you can make it work, I would love to see it. So I'm not going to be doing another improve it in the video sort of thing. We're going to make this one slightly shorter. And then we'll go back to our bell solution because it is my favorite. Despite the speed limit being interesting, I love the way this one looks and sounds. And so, this is my fast bell solution. And I will see you in the next episode of Opus Magnum with Lyte.